Cheers, welcome to my channel. This is a timely tarot oracle reading about random shift. If you resonate with the title and or the thumbnail, this is the perfect reading for you. It's delivered at the perfect time in timely fashion, courtesy of the universe through the language of synchronicity. This is a collective or general reading, meaning parts may or may not resonate with you. Take what works for you and just leave the rest. Also, this is a timely reading, so if you're watching it at this time, it is the perfect time for you. Having said that, if it's been some time since I posted this, what was going on back then for you, it may give you further clarity to your situation. I'm going to begin with the underlying energy from the bottom of the deck. We have the Death card, so don't panic. This is actually about transition. This card is coming up a lot because the whole world right now is going through transition in major ways. It's just there's light at the end of the tunnel though, and the Grim Reaper represents that transition that when we cross the veil. And then it also represents rebirth when we're reborn. So it's kind of, if you think about death and birth, in many ways they're very similar. You come down the tunnel in the dark and then you come out into the light. The major difference is that when you're born, you have a couple of parents that may have no clue whatsoever to do with what to do with you. Whereas when you cross the veil, you are caught by God, and He knows exactly what to do. So this is talking also about like this older person is trying to barter with the Grim Reaper. I don't want the change. I don't want this to happen. And these young people, little children here, one of them is trying to hand a flower to the Grim Reaper, and he's just, which represents. I'm having trouble talking this morning, which represents the ability to, accept growth in your life. Change is the one constant we can all totally count on. And now so that's the underlying energy for the reading. We have the Eight of Swords. So the Eight of Swords is talking about feeling in a mental prison, like trapped by your thoughts, basically. This can be when you get into a loop of thinking. So there's a transition coming, and maybe you're aware of it, and it's concerning you. This can sometimes represent, because she's bound up, this can represent someone who feels duty-bound, don't know what to do because they're caught between what they want to do and what the energy of the situation is. Maybe it involves people you love and you don't want to face whatever is happening with them. And this is like not wanting to see the truth, basically. And this energy, I feel like this is almost representing the tears that she's wept. And at one point there was way more water here, and now she's gone through these, there's 8 swords in all, and there's 7 behind her. And there's just this one left, and I feel like that's the one that she's thinking, okay, that's the choice. That's the direction I'm going on in, and that's what I'm going to do here. So she's got one foot. Her right foot is on dry land now, and her left foot is still in water, and water represents emotion in tarot. But I feel like the emotions have dried up a lot, and as she's ready now to make a move. And we have the Queen of Cups. Yeah, this kind of makes sense. The Queen of Cups is one of 4 queens in the tarot. She's holding her cup on her lap here. Basically, this is it's like a trophy, this one, and it's got a lid on it. It's the only one that has a lid, and it's it's very fancy and big. This represents her ability to be a container of love, of unconditional love. So no matter what happens, this is representing a mother's love for her child, and then this is quite often representing, as well as someone who is in a position to receive love and give love, and is unconditionally loving to her family, to her spouse, to herself, to her pets, to the community around her. Like, she's just a very loving person. And that's her main focus in life, is to be loving. This is the most traditional of the queens. She's most likely to be in a traditional marriage. And, quite often people show their love in different ways. So sometimes this can represent that energy, of someone who cooks for everybody and, or that kind of energy. And this is also a representation of your maternal bloodline. So this represents your mother and your grandmother and your great grandmother down the maternal line. We have the energy of the Two of Wands. Yeah, I was just going to mention, I have this feeling like your ancestors on the other side of the veil are watching over you. That's the energy I'm getting. And so if anyone's going through a very challenging time right now, know that your maternal bloodline is watching. You see that? They're watching, okay, and they're sending love to you through the veil, basically. And then we have this energy of the Two of Wands. So the Two of Wands is, again, someone who is, I feel that you've come to terms with, okay, this is the action I'm going to take. Now, how can I take it? This is someone who's standing at the top of their castle at the turret. They're overlooking their domain, but they're thinking, they've got the world in their hands, basically. That's what this globe represents. But they recognize that maybe perhaps where you come from, it's a smaller center. Even if it's a large city, it's someone who wants to expand to a bigger audience or to a bigger, group of people to sell products to or whatever. Quite often this can represent an entrepreneur, like a business owner that wants to franchise or, set up in another location, possibly move the business to a larger center, that kind of energy. And this person feels like they're a big fish in a little pond. And so that's the energy we're looking at here. And then we have the Four of Pentacles. And so the Four of Pentacles is an energy of, the pentacles represent health, wealth, happiness on planet Earth. So it represents your lifestyle, basically. Having said that, a big part of our lifestyle is money. And in this particular card, it is about money. It's about, the three levels of making money. This is talking about you have a strong foundation, because you got one foot on each coin. Having said that, it's also talking about this being safe money. And so not wanting to risk a whole lot in your energy. And this is your heart's desires. Then we go to your crown and glory. And that's kind of, I feel, where this person is. They recognize that they're a big fish in a little pond, but they also recognize that if they move to a bigger city, they're going to have to start off as a small fish in a big pond. And that's going to take some calculated risk, to be able to do so. Turning the back on your city is saying, like, you need to change location. It's saying, quite often this card will say, don't sell yourself short, and you don't have to be playing small. This energy is talking about going after your heart's desires. I feel in some case, in a way, that this energy is more about going after the crown and glory. I feel this person has been successful. They feel very successful, having recognized that successful as they can be where they are at this point. And this is talking about the energy of the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles is a sign of some sort of communication coming in. And the page, they would work for the king and queen and the royal court within the palace walls. And generally they would start between the age of 7 to 14. And they would come from, the higher class society families around. And it would be like they were apprenticing. And if they were good at what they did and they took on their tasks and they were diligent, when they were 21, they might be considered for knighthood if they could afford a horse, basically. And so this energy is talking about communication coming in regarding the pentacle. Each of the pages has a pentacle in his hand. And the pentacle, has the element. They're focused on the element. And that's what they represent. So this page represents the element of earth and also of the pentacle, like abundance on planet Earth. And so some sort of information is coming in about maybe this, what you're looking at doing here. And maybe this is talking about, it could be paperwork coming in, contracts. It could be, it's more likely it's probably going to come in by an email or a phone call or a text message. It could be something you see on social media that inspires you to go somewhere and you bump into someone. It's the universe's way of feeding you information regarding what it is that you want to do and what you need to know to be able to do it, basically. We have okay, so we've got the Five of Pentacles here. So the Five of Pentacles is talking about feeling like you're left out in the cold. So there's some energy here, almost of feeling the need to move. And maybe it's because you don't feel like you have this love where you're at. That's kind of the energy coming in. This card here is being left out in the cold. The Five of Pentacles is talking about, like, we have two people here. We have one who is on crutches and he's wearing a bell around his neck. And he's wearing the bell because in the old days, if you had the plague, that you would be forced to wear this bell, and then people could see you coming and hear you coming and then avoid you, which would make it really challenging to do business if this is what's happening to you. And this person is walking in the snow without any shoes on, any footwear at all. The two of them are working together to do the best they can to survive this, being left out in the cold. And so this, I feel like they're like, even when I look at this picture, I just feel like there's a sadness here that this person doesn't feel he has the support of his community. And this quite often represents tactics being used against someone to put them in that position. The tactics that I'm talking about, I actually was around, it's almost 2 decades now ago, I think, when Edward Snowden, he had leaked documents proving that the government and big business and corporations around the world were sharing private information that they weren't supposed to be sharing regarding people that they were gathering off the internet, basically. And through ways that they were not allowed to do so. And so he identified 7 tactics, and those are in my oracle that I'm going to use to clarify. So these tactics, I call them snowflakes because in honor of Snowden, some people feel he's a traitor, and some people feel he's a hero. He's living in Russia since he leaked this information. I personally don't know what the legalities around it enough, but I do find that the tactics that he gave are really, really helpful for people because we use those on ourselves. And when you think about it, the people that run the countries and are in top positions, it's only about 1 to 2% of the people on the planet. And so the rest of us have a huge effect on that. After all, we are the ones that vote them in if we live in a democracy. And also, we vote with our dollar, basically. So the energy is talking about, tactics being taken out. And if we use those tactics and employ them, then the people who we employ, which is the government, we pay them through our taxes to do the job. That we will, we'll let them continue to use these tactics. If we're using them ourselves at the bottom, and 98% of the people are using them, then of course as above, so below, that kind of energy. And so the tactics are ways that people can use to cause people to be in this situation. And it's, gossip and slander and whatever, ruining someone's reputation so they no longer are able to do business. And that's the energy that we have here. So, everyone can handle a flake or two, but when a bunch of flakes gather up, it can be a lot to deal with, and it can actually collapse your house. And so the energy here is feeling left out in the cold and not fitting into wherever this person is doing business. I feel this is about business. Could be about love too, but I feel like this is more a container of love of what this person wants to do, and just feels like I'm going to have to leave this where I am to be able to get the support I need. And you know, that's a business decision, or it could be about love as well, just not fitting into a community. Really having put all this thought into it, it's very challenging. Perhaps he really loves where he's at, but he just, due to circumstances beyond his control, he can't afford to be here anymore. And this is talking about, you know, the going into the church. Like, you notice right here, it's like it looks like they're walking by, but they must go into the church because now there's someone here meditating and praying. And this is about going inward. And they've hung the swords of their mind, the subconscious, unconscious, and conscious mind, on the wall and laid the sword to rest. And this is representing, the swords represent your mental intelligence and your mind, and how the discipline. Your subconscious mind is formed by the time you're 6 or 7 years of age. And so this is, you know, if you think back, what can you remember about being a baby? Probably very little. Yet that part of your life is very significant to, you know, your mind. The subconscious mind is formed by the time you're 6 or 7 by what happens to you when you're a baby and up to that age around kindergarten. And you have to basically rely on the people who are in charge of your care to tell you this happened or that happened. I mean, nowadays we have a lot more photos, of course, and, you know, social media and posts and all of that kind of energy. But still, those are the thoughts of the people that were around you, and they steer us in particular ways. They can, you know, really, in the subconscious mind is what you turn to when you're stressed out, basically. Or when you're excited, you know, it's always there with you, your subconscious mind, but it isn't your thoughts. It's the thoughts of other people who told you who you are, basically. And then we have the unconscious mind. So many people will say, I'm a human being with a soul. Having said that, you are actually a soul that is traveling in a human body. And that's your vehicle to get around Earth and get, you know, your shift done. And then we have the conscious mind. So the conscious mind is what you have a handle on. It's, you know, this is your true thoughts, your experiences, how you think about things, basically. And, you know, when you put your mind to rest and you discipline your mind is supposed to work for you, not against you. Here it's working against you because you're in a loop of thinking. And so quite often what you need to do is, if to get an answer, what this person needs to do is ask the logical question and then look for an intuitive answer. What comes to you? How do you feel about it? What is, you know, that kind of energy. Go inward and get the answer that way, and then use that answer but apply logic to it to get the job done, basically. And this stained glass window in the background has the word PAX on it, P-A-X, which means peace. And this is talking about peace of mind. When you get your mind quiet, then you can hear what your inner, you know, self is telling you. This is the answer. This is how you feel. This is what your heart wants. This is what your soul wants, that kind of energy. Look at this. And it is regarding love. Here, so it's both, because there's a lot of pentacle energy here, but this is right on top. Right after I said, you know, it's more about the pentacles, it's also very much about the love. So there's some sort of situation where this person has a partner, or used to have a partner, or met someone and once, and this is a soulmate. And so that's the energy I was picking up. If your soul isn't happy, you're not going to be happy. That's like, your soul has needs just like your physical body does. And this is talking about, you have a soulmate that you possibly have met, or you're about to. You might be dreaming about them, that kind of energy. And maybe you met someone and they live somewhere else, and that's why, part of the reason why you want to move. but it's interesting because there's still this energy of feeling like you have to move from this place. It's a really, really challenging decision that you're making here for some reason. And so it might have to do, because here you only have half the pentacles that you should have, because tactics have been used to stop you from earning money. And the soulmate energy is when two people come together and they're toasting each other, looking each other in the eye. And this is representing two people who are balanced within their own masculine and feminine energies that come together. And so when you're balanced within yourself, in your masculine and feminine qualities, then you're able to take your intuition as well as your logic to make strong choices. So this is talking about two people coming together because they empower each other, not because they need each other. So it's really interesting that it's sitting right on here. So that's defining this. Is this someone, a soulmate does not have to be a romantic partner, but quite often it is. And this energy here is representing your higher self and the higher self network. You know, if you think about the internet, how we can communicate on the internet, the higher self network, HSN, is your connection to source, to God. And it's your ability to, connect with that information through your soul's needs, basically. Really interesting to see it like this. And okay, so this is really cool. This is talking about the communication. Is about pentacles, but I feel like it's saying you're going to have enough pentacles to be with your soulmate. So there might be some energy around that. This is saying you have 9 cups here. And the 9 of cups is representing, like, there's only 10 cups in the tarot. So this is representing having like the love of your life and enjoying that with them. Loving where you live, loving your children when you have them, loving your home, loving your community, loving just being on earth, like everything falling into place, not feeling like like you're not wanted in your community, feeling like you're with the person you like highly desire to be with. That is going to empower you to get to this point, to get to everything you ever wished for. That's cool. So, and this is talking about that energy coming through. The thing is, what this card is saying, again, there's something public happening here. This person's on a stage, basically. And these 9 cups, we can't tell, are they above his head? Are they behind him? Are they forward and he's, back? So this is talking about past, present, and future energies. So this may have happened in the past that you've met this person, or it could be that you just met them. And now you're like, okay, I need to figure this out. I'm not happy where I am anyway. These people don't want me here. I may as well move somewhere and take my money and all my energy and apply it with now this person is making. And that might be the energy coming in, is that this person that you met is interested in working with you as well as being. Sometimes this energy can talk about something you love to do or be, but quite often it also has like the romantic aspect to it, because God is good. You may as well be, if you love someone, you may as well be able to work well with them, right? And so this is saying this is something you've always wished for, but you need to stay in the game. You need to stay very focused, don't get all caught up in this energy and worry. Things will work out if they're supposed to. This is a transition that is destined for you. And this is representing that. So this is taking a good turn here. Trust your intuition. This energy is saying this is the different. This person is sitting in between these 2 towers. These represent total opposites. But she's comfortable in between because she's sitting next, her throne sits next to the throne of God. She is the high priestess. And so she uses her intuition to be able to, and the cycles of the moon, to know when to let go at the full moon, and then be in an energy to start new and make this transition with ease and happiness and joy, like it's supposed to be. And so going from the bottom here, you're in the situation where you feel like maybe You have older parents or something that could represent that also. And maybe you're sad to leave your family, but you're not going to be able to thrive where you're at. You've really put a lot of energy into it. You've meditated, you've prayed, and you also have met your soulmate somewhere. So your maternal line is like your mom, if she's with you there in where you're at right now, is maybe sad that you're moving or whatever, but it could turn out to be a really beneficial thing for her as well. So mothers worry. A lot of times mothers are taught to worry. And actually the worst thing a mother can do is worry, because the bond between a mother and their child is so significant. And if a mother can't see a strong future, a brilliant future for her child, who's going to, right? So this is the using your intuition. This is the problem here, is you're caught in a loop of asking one question and after another. And when you ask a logical question, you get a logical answer, and then that brings up more logical questions. And so that's why people get caught in that loop. And it's also talking about the emotions behind it, right? You need to add your intuition to this mix, and then you will have the answer. And I feel that's what you have done. And you're ready to make the choice now. This is something you've always wished for. And you're so close to getting it. You're very highly favored. This is very public. I don't know what happened in this situation, but definitely you're feeling like you're not supported in the community where you are right now. And this is talking about someone, I feel this soulmate is also someone that totally supports your work and is able to make up for the energy here. Now you'll have, with their energy, then you'll be able to, and their investment in you, and also possibly with pentacles, like with actual coin, because this is about the money, is going to allow you, you may have to leave where you're at, but it's going to allow you to go after your heart's desires and your crown and glory. I really like this. I'll take that. Why not? The world is a huge world. I love traveling. I lived in Australia for about a year and a half when I was years ago in my 20s. And I've traveled I've traveled to about, 45 countries over the years. I just love meeting new people, new cultures, that kind of energy. You can learn, some people, I tried to convince my parents, because I didn't want to go to university. I tried to convince them to give me the money so I could travel and educate myself that way, but I went backpacking instead. But it was such an awesome, I spent most of my 20s working 2 jobs at a time so that I could afford to go somewhere. Then I would go there, and then I'd come back and I'd have to usually find another job, of course. Back then, no jobs were easy to find. They'd hire anyone basically if you were willing to put the work in. And there was so many jobs around. They needed people. Totally different from the energy now. So this card is popping out. If you're enjoying this reading, give it a like and comment, please. It really does empower me to build my channel. Also, I'm going to clarify now with my Oracle, Tales from the Vector. And I started this back in 2007. I'm an artist. I did all these big paintings of dragons flying through the sky, basically. And it's courtesy of the Intergalactic Federation of Light. So I have had them out and about when I had seminars in the past, and also at psychic fairs. Had a lot of fun playing with the cards, but I didn't have the paintings all done. And now I have, in 2020, I completed the paintings, and I have the time now. That's what I'm doing right now, is gathering the information. I do have a lot of information on paper, but I want to put it into action here now so I can see how the cards interact, and then I'll write the information and bring it out here. Oh, you're back and forth. You're a silly girl this morning. All right, we have attachment. So attachment is a karmic space that we can all fall into, and it's actually the mother of all karmic spaces, because when we become attached to something, quite often we'll weave a web so that we can hang on to it. And it leads us to justifying other karmic spaces that we can get caught up into to keep what we want, basically. Scotoma. Okay, there's definitely a blind spot here. The scotoma. A scotoma is, we have scotomas in our eyes. It's just, if you think about a screen on your TV, it's made up of pixels, and so scotomas are just little areas of your eye where there's a slight blurring or whatever, and the scotoma is, you don't even usually really notice it unless it's in a significant part of your eye. And that's the kind of energy we have here. So the scotomas in life are basically when you can't see something, but everybody else can. And that's like this kind of energy here. Or you see something that other people can't. That could also be this energy here, because you're having, sometimes with the blindfold, over the eyes, there's a saying, because you have eyes you cannot see. People think that, I'll believe it when I see it, but we actually can see a very, very small portion of the spectrum of light. And so everything that's out there that we, just because we can't see it doesn't mean that there isn't energy there. So, really, we don't see very much. What we do see is not the full picture anyway. So then, going inward, this is talking about, again, because you have eyes you cannot see, is you're relying too much on the information that you only have a fraction of that you can see. And you need to go inward and use your third eye to get intuitive answers. And then right here, I'm laughing because All-Star is in here, and she's like, yeah, you need to be insightful. So you need to use your insight to be able to come to an answer here, and then you won't be in this condition anymore. And you need to also discipline your mind to do that. You can't, if you're attached to something, so attached to it, then you're not neutral at all, and it's going to be very challenging for you to, believe yourself, basically, when you come to an answer. And here's another karmic space of indifference. Yes, there's some sort of energy here. We're all in it together. We're a work in progress, but we all know that on planet Earth that isn't necessarily true. Some people can be very indifferent to the suffering of others and really not care so long as they get what they want, basically. And we have the Aquarius energy coming in. So Aquarius energy, basically, we're in the age of Aquarius now. A lot of people, it's hard to determine exactly when we move from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, because it's a 2,160 year cycle. So, but the Piscean energy is, all emotional. Like that's the most mature of the water sign. It's old authority, the old boys club kind of energy. It's because it's old. It's been around for a very long time, and now the age of Aquarius is here, and the age of Aquarius is more about air. So and Pisces, the glyph for Pisces is two fish that are tied at the tail, and they're swimming, trying to swim together, right? And the Aquarius energy is about air, and that's what the element here represents. So Aquarius is about your intellect and it's ruled by Uranus, which is a very big planet, okay? And Uranus, if you want to say it that way. I'm just laughing because it's a lot of, there's a joke out there, but I can't remember it, so I'm not even going to be able to do it at this point. This is about experimentation. So in the old day, like in the Piscean energy, people would quite often, it was the way it was. I was talking about that when I went traveling, and I was going to Australia for 4 months, and I had saved up enough money for 4 months, and then but I got a working visa, and they were easy to get back then. I mean, you were working in bars and, that kind of energy, but I was able to stay, work, just get jobs here and there and be able to travel around Australia as I went. And it was really easy to do so because the Australians loved Canadians. Like they were so, just so friendly, and I never had any problem getting work. I'd work somewhere for a month, and then now I'm going to go see another part of Australia. And it was that kind of energy, like where you could do that. It was like we didn't have all the paper, where we didn't have the, the internet. We didn't have cell phones. It was kind of like you just kind of put on a backpack and put a Canadian flag on it and went for it kind of energy. And I ended up staying for a year and a half. And these days that just wouldn't happen. Like it's just not free you're not free to do that from country to country anymore. And so the energy was like also like people would get a job and they would stay at it for their whole life. Like they would stay in that, like not just in the career of their choice, but they would actually get a job somewhere and, their whole working life would be in one place with one company, get the pension. It was easy to purchase a house. It was just different times totally from now. The Aquarian energy is very different, and we're seeing that with the AI coming in now. And Aquarius energy is more, less about fixing the same old problem, but actually taking small experiments and working with that kind of energy. Like you do a small experiment, did that work? If not, you observe, did that work? No, okay, then scrap that idea. Now let's try this, and we'll try it in a slightly different way. Yay, that worked. Okay, let's double up on that. That's the kind of energy that Aquarius energy is in. It's much more intellectual, and we see that a lot with the AI right now. New technologies coming in, new inventions, all of that kind of energy. And so a lot of people, though, if you take a fish out of water, it's going to be very uncomfortable for people that are used to it being the old way. And so that's the kind of energy that we're all dealing with. The younger people who have always been raised with cell phones and that kind of energy are now talking about feeling kind of like, hey, they want to go back to the other way. And so it's really interesting, how different generations do things differently. The Leo energy is talking about leadership again here. So Leos are natural born leaders. When the horoscope signs come out in my readings, I'm not talking about an Aquarius person or a Leo person here. I'm talking about the state of being of the signs. We all have all of these signs in us, and we can all learn from the energy of each sign. Aquarius is very good at observing, experimenting, using their intellect. Leo are born to lead, but it's an energy of the stage of life, regardless of your age. Think about teenage boys being really impulsive, and it takes what they say. They used to say till you were 21 for the frontal lobe to totally mature, and that it sort of controls your emotions and your responses and your reactions to life. Now they're saying it's more like 24. So it takes time to mature to be a strong leader. Leo energy is naturally inclined that way. Having said that, sometimes they have to rely on arrogance until they become mature enough to be able to be confident in their ability to lead. And then we have the Gemini energy coming in. So the Gemini energy we're talking here, and this is sitting on the soulmates here, the twins, basically two souls, very intimately connected. And this is talking about the energy of being at the stage of kindergarten where you're in a learning curve. If you're moving to a new place, you have the skills from your business, from doing business in one place. But when you move to a new place, and if you want to expand it, you have to learn a lot of new skills and, meet new people and do things differently. And so that's, think about a young child going into kindergarten for the first time. When you first get to the school, you're thinking when you get there, you're used to your family, the way things are done. And then you find out when you're in kindergarten that a lot of people do things differently from how you do it. And that's kind of a learning curve that we all are going through right now. I feel we're in kindergarten, moving from Pisces into the Aquarius energy. And probably we'll be in kindergarten for a good 100 years or so, because it's a long process of moving from one age into the other. And then we have anger, which is another karmic space coming up here. So we do have a lot of energy here of clearing karma. When the karmic spaces come up, it's just saying this energy is extremely volatile right now. There's a lot of karma involved, and there's a lot of energy that's changing and shifting all the time. Some people are reacting to that emotionally with anger. A lot of people are raised, the problem with anger, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So if you're raised by angry people who are angry about something, and this is passed down from one generation to the next, you might be like 4 generations later and you don't even know why you're angry with those people, but you're angry because that's what you were taught to be. And anger can be really hard on your health and also your mental health. So it's talking about adapting and not using anger as a coping mechanism. And then we have the superstars. So this is talking about having harmony. You know, if you go inward and you can use your intellect and your intuition together, then you can breathe again. It's that kind of energy. You're a superstar. There we go. All right. Well, I enjoyed this reading. It's good advice, and a lot of advice from the astrological influences here. There's a lot going on astrologically at this time, which is why a lot of my readings are starting to show a lot of the signs. And I hope you've enjoyed this. Please give it a like and comment if you have, and consider subscribing if you resonate to the energy of the channel. I'd be honored if you did so. And I will be back at some random time with some more random shift. Bye for now. I'm sorry, little kitty. I know you're mad. Say, I don't want to.